So, we're about to get to my favorite part. I'm excited to announce our second product, which is called Numerai Supreme. What is it? Numerai Supreme is an unconstrained, high-return expression of the Numerai meta model. Here are the risk characteristics of Numerai One, our institutional market-neutral product. As you can see, they're very conservative. All of this put into the optimizer makes our volatility about 10% in this fund. If you're not familiar with volatility, that sort of means it's quite hard for the fund to go down much more than 10% in a single year. What does all this do in the optimizer when you give it these constraints? Well, what the meta model signal is the Numerai community, all of their models put together, their expected return, right? So you could kind of make this plot and say, well, there's some things that are really likely to go up according to the meta model, and there are other things that are really likely to go down. So maybe you want to short those ones. And so what the optimizer does is it tries to satisfy all those constraints, but it starts to run out of ideas because of all the constraints. So suddenly it has to do something like buy a stock that it actually believes has an expected return of 0. It helps to satisfy these optimizer constraints. So it's a bit like Numerai One is kind of like caring a lot about the risk constraints and not caring as much about what the meta model really thinks. After all, if the meta model really wants that position, why wouldn't we trust the data science community and the kind of largest one ever established to solve this problem? And all of this kind of makes a product that has more like 20% annualized volatility, which is still very low. For example, Bitcoin is something like 80% annualized volatility. And this is what it looks like. This is what Numerai Supreme looks like. It buys only the stuff at the top, only the stuff with the highest expected returns, because it doesn't have to make all these constant risk trade-offs that it doesn't really want to make. And it gets to short the worst companies in the world in order to fund its investment in the longs. For believers only, high risk, there's a higher lockup on it, and it's higher fee. In other words, this fund is Numerai's medallion fund. I think this is a really interesting product for a certain type of investor. I'm excited to say that Numerai Supreme will start trading on June 30th.